Chapter 1. Alright, so listen up. There was this emperor, right? Name's Nathaniel Klein, but everyone just calls him Nate. And the guy was like insanely powerful. The 17th Holy Emperor of Delcross, had literal divine power, was the best swordsman on the continent. The country was thriving under him, and he was on good terms with all the neighbours. Basically, a once-in-a-century kind of ruler. Except, there was one little problem. His nickname was the unprecedented, womanizing Holy Emperor. Because by the time he was 21, when he first sat on the throne, he already had 3 wives, 1 mistress, and 5 kids. After 12 years of ruling, over 7 legitimate children, and who knows how many illegitimately ones. So how do you shake off a label like that? You don't. And Nate's been struggling ever since, trying to be a decent dad. But kids, man, they're a whole other level of pain. Take his oldest son, Owen. The kid starts spewing nonsense out of nowhere. He goes, "Father, I want to level up my stats through a status window." And then he just pieces out to the southern front. What are you even supposed to do with that? Then there's his daughter, Amelia. She drops a whole bombshell, comes in crying and says she came back from the future. Apparently, some guy named Leonard tricked her into marriage, then abused her, locked her in a tower, and eventually killed her. So now she wants revenge, full on to the bitter end. Nate looks at his sweet little daughter, who suddenly turned into a thorny rose, and thinks, what kind of parenting is this? Is it like this for everyone? Or are my kids just weird? But the real headache is his 4th child, Prince Morres. His mum is a hysterical mess who constantly nagged him, trying to turn him into the heir. And what did Morres do in response? He started fooling around with the palace staff and eventually turned into an out-of-control delinquent. Basically, the family's biggest embarrassment. Then the kid almost dies from some fever, wakes up, and he's like a completely different person. Stopped causing trouble, started training non-stop, lost weight, his swordsmanship got way better, but his personality turned sharp and cold. Nate's happy about the changes, sure, but something's just off. And then one day, this happens. Boom! The whole palace shakes. Everyone runs outside to the courtyard, and there's a freaking dragon. A real one. A massive black corpse with rotting flesh and demonic energy radiating off it. And guess who's standing right on top of it? Morres, cool as a cucumber. And he says, didn't mean to cause a commotion. Carry on with your duties, don't mind me. So, get this. He'd apparently taken down this demonic dragon somewhere in the east, and instead of dragging it across the country, risking everyone and everything getting infected by its corpse, he just brought it here. Dumped it right in the middle of the imperial palace, where the emperor lives, where all the ministers are walking around. The cardinals are in shock. The knights are crossing themselves. Even the high priest swears under his breath. Everyone's thinking the same thing. This good-for-nothing prince has turned into a complete madman. You never know what he'll do next. And the dragon, by the way, still alive? Barely. It's roaring, twitching, demonic energy flaring up everywhere. And Morres is standing right in the middle of this nightmare. He pulls out his sword, and suddenly, this creepy, dark red aura starts leaking from the blade. Definitely not the kind of aura you'd expect from a prince of a holy empire. "I'll handle this now," he says. "You guys stay back. Be careful with the energy." And then he just stabs the dragon right through its heart. Explosion. Black smoke everywhere. Total chaos. Thankfully, Emperor Nate manages to throw up a holy barrier to stop the magic from wiping out everyone nearby. After a while, the smoke clears, and all that's left of the dragon is a white skeleton. But where's the prince? Everyone thinks he's toast. A normal person with no holy power would have just disintegrated from that much demonic energy. But nope, Morres walks out of the smoke, totally fine, not a scratch, and he walks straight toward his father, still radiating that twisted blood-red aura. Honestly, at this point, you'd be confused about who's the demon and who's the prince. The archbishop, shaking like a leaf, whispers to the emperor, "Your Majesty, are you absolutely sure your son isn't involved with something unholy?" Nate just puts a hand over his face and sighs quietly. Because his reckless idiot son Morres just became the centre of a brand new storm. And this storm? Yeah, it's probably going to turn all of Delcross upside down. Chapter 2. So here's the deal with Morris Klein, third prince of the Holy Empire of Delcross. And let's just say, he's a complete joke. The kind of embarrassment to the imperial family you don't see every day. Unlike his father, who was basically the coolest emperor in history, this guy didn't inherit a single shred of holy power or any swordsmanship skills. On top of that, his temper was explosive, his language was crude, nothing like his dad's calm manners, and it was so bad that some bishops even whispered like, "Are we sure he's actually the emperor's kid?" But then, this forever idiot prince suddenly got a chance to change. He caught a nasty fever, spent 3 days and 3 nights at death's door, and when he woke up, he was a completely different person. Everyone just thought, well, people change after a near-death experience. But here's the thing, the prince had a huge secret, because the one who opened his eyes inside Morris's dying body was a guy named Lee Sungjin, from Earth. This Lee Sungjin guy had been stubborn since he was a baby, like, since diapers. His parents, even though he was their only child, went through a lot with him. His mum cried watching her 4-year-old son still glued to his pacifier. She was worried about his teeth, but luckily, his baby teeth grew in straight and nice. Then he started kindergarten, and a new problem popped up. The kid flat out refused to go home. They tried everything. We've got snacks at home. Let's watch your favourite cartoon. Nothing worked. The teachers even started to suspect something was wrong at home. In the end, mum or dad had to carry him around the playground until he fell asleep, then drag him home late at night. Then came elementary school. His parents finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thought he'd matured. Yeah, not really. One day he came home with someone else's crayons. The next day, the teacher called. Sung Jin had taken a 56-pack from a classmate because that classmate had broken his own 24-pack of crayons. His mum said, "Sung Jin, he apologised. You can't just take other people's things," he said. "So if he apologises, that's it? What about my crayons? We'll buy new ones. Why should you buy them if Hyunchul broke them? The person who caused the problem should take responsibility." His mum was speechless, but from a kid's point of view, he wasn't wrong. Eventually, she talked him into it. Friendship is more important than crayons. Forgive him first, and if you're still upset, we'll figure it out later. He reluctantly nodded, then added, "And why did I take the 56-pack? For emotional damages. I should get something better, right?" His mum never figured out if her son was a genius or just really clever. Then middle school came, and Sungjin suddenly went quiet. His parents watched him nervously, but his uniform was neat. His textbooks were fine. No one seemed to be bullying him. They thought finally he's grown up. The truth was, things were a total mess behind the scenes. He'd just learned to hide his business from teachers and parents. For example, some bullies tried to mess with him. He spent 3 months methodically hunting down one of them until the bullies were shaking in their shoes and begged for a truce. Or one time, a student council member picked a fight with him. Sungjin stalked him for a week until the guy developed social anxiety and went on medical leave. So yeah, his school life was quite the adventure, always walking the line between justice and crime. He wasn't a star student, but he was diligent enough. Got into a decent university in Seoul, did his military service, landed a job at a decent small to mid-sized company. Some co-workers said, "You know, there's something off about that Mr. Lee." But on the outside, he was a model employee. He even got job offers and started flirting with a female co-worker. In other words, he would have just lived a normal life, gotten married and been fine. Then came August 2035. The Gehenna Gate incident. Portals to the demon world suddenly opened all over the planet, and hordes of monsters poured out. Cities crumbled within days. The world fell into chaos. Sungjin happened to be on a business trip and barely survived by hiding in a shelter on the defense line. But he lost everything. His family, his peaceful life, everything. And he didn't cry. He just quietly watched the endless stream of monsters and thought, who do I collect this debt from? So he became a hunter, a professional monster killer. Turns out if you touch a monster's corpse, your body absorbs this strange energy. They called it monster aura. And the people who absorbed it gained superhuman abilities. Some got incredibly strong, some developed a tough outer shell, and some could even move things with their minds. The more you absorbed, the stronger you got. Pretty soon, there were superhumans who could kill thousands of monsters by themselves. Humanity slowly started pushing back, and a war of attrition began, one that lasted for decades. And ironically, after decades, the demon world and Earth had nearly destroyed each other. When the last squad of superhumans finally reached the Demon King, hiding deep in the heart of the demon world, he just sighed and said, "So it's come to this. What have we been doing for decades? What a disgrace." Nobody cared about his disappointment. There was only one option left: total annihilation of one side. The Demon King fought back desperately. They battled for 3 days and 3 nights. By the 3rd night, all that was left of the Demon King was his head. And out of the entire human squad, only one person was still alive. It was Sungjin, the stubborn bastard who never gave up. He barely raised his fist in front of the Demon King's head, and the Demon King said with a tired kind of surprise, "You stubborn piece of work. I thought you were the least interesting of them all, but here I am, dying at your hands." Sungjin smirked and threw a punch. Crack! A crack ran through the Demon King's horn. Another punch, and his nose caved in. But Sungjin didn't have enough strength left to smash his head completely. The Demon King, bleeding from his nose, panicked. "Hey, wait! Hold on!" Sungjin just kept punching methodically. At some point, Sungjin ran out of gas and stopped to catch his breath. And then he watched as the Demon King's crushed nose slowly started to heal. Turns out even just ahead, this demon could regenerate. The Demon King started negotiating. "Let's call a truce, recover our strength, and then fight again." But Sungjin knew, if both of them recovered, he was screwed. Because he was human, and the Demon King was the Demon King. So the Demon King tried a different angle. "Fine, let's just stop fighting altogether. I'll leave Earth and Gehenna forever. You save my life, and you save both worlds. Think about it." Sungjin stayed quiet. "If you kill me like this, Gehenna collapses, and Earth gets slowly dragged into the gates. Both worlds die." "Is that what you want?" Sungjin finally answered. "I don't care about either world. The only thing that matters is whether I kill you or not. That's the whole point." The Demon King went pale. He realized there was no negotiating with this guy. Then he tried a third pitch. "At least let me die on my own terms. My auto-regeneration is draining me. Give me some time and I'll burn my own soul with Gehenna's flame. I'll disappear on my own. You won't have to lift a finger, and I'll close the gates. Earth will be fine." Sungjin nodded. "Okay, I'll think about it after I kill you." The Demon King screamed, "How are you going to think about it after I'm dead? And you can't even kill me like this anyway. Why am I even talking to you?" Who knows how long this would have gone on. But at some point, the Demon King finally made up his mind. He started sobbing and yelled, You cursed brat, I really didn't want to do this." Crimson flames erupted. Gehenna's fire, the stuff that erases existence itself. It started consuming the Demon King's head, and then spread to Sungjin. The Demon King, laughing through his tears, shouted, "Burn together with this Demon King's noble soul as fuel. I will destroy you. I'll burn your soul to ash." His flesh was melting, his bones were showing, but even then he seemed almost happy that he was dragging Sungjin down with him. And Sungjin looked at his own burning body, the body that had absorbed monster aura for decades, that had become nearly invincible, and realized it was melting like wax, and it hurt like hell, even though he was used to pain. But he knew one thing: the one who started this invasion, the enemy of his entire life, was finally defeated. Then the Demon King, who had been laughing like a maniac, suddenly stopped, because he saw that Sungjin, engulfed in flames, was smiling. and a chill ran down the Demon King's spine. "Well," Sungjin said, "I guess this is it for me too." Then he slowly, with muscles that were nothing but charred skeletons, raised his burning fist. "So let's finish this with one last punch," the Demon King shrieked. "You bastard, even now? Think of this as compensation for emotional damages." "Crack!" the scream cut off. The Demon King's face crumbled into ash. Sungjin closed his eyes. In his fading consciousness, he thought he heard a cracking sound, like something breaking. That was the last memory of Hunter Lee Sungjin.